Assalamu alaikum, guys. We're here today on, I guess it's Thursday night before the games tomorrow. And for your Week 5 podcast, I'm here with our guests, the one and only Omar Baksh.
What's up, guys?
And of course, we also have Zay Manju.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Islam.
Waalaikumsalam.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Good, thanks.
I just have a correction to make from last week because I got razzed on this by my team a lot. So it's not Hashim Bangat on my team; it's actually Hamza Bagat. So I have to make that correction. Hopefully,
tomato.
What do you think you are, Hanan Gafur? Or there's only one. You can't just imitate him.
It's just too many names, man. I'm getting all confused.
Yeah, man.
But yes, it's Hamza Bagat.
You think that's the first time? Omar Chaudhry, Hamza Hussein. Who are these made-up people?
All right, with that, let's get started. We have a lot of material to cover tonight. So I'm just going to kick it off here. And hold on, this is going fast. So just a quick recap of the game. So first game of last week, Yaqeen came out with a dominant 6-2 win over Iman. What do you guys have to say about this?
I don't know if you guys were there, but so our guys started showing up slowly, right? There was apparently delays on the highway, but really, when you look at the scorecard, all it is, and it shows you that Yaqeen is only like they rely on their first line. Their first line did all the scoring, with the exception of Zakaria Ali, who scored that beautiful empty net when he didn't even realize he was scoring that. And Iman was able to keep up quite well early on, right, with their young speed and their players. So right now, again, this is early, but I'm thinking if you can slow down the first line of Yaqeen, you might actually have a chance to be able to mount a comeback and get a W. So waits to be seen. But Iman came to play and they were up early, but again, just too good.
Zaid, I was watching this game and basically like the first half, I got to give up to Iman. They were actually controlling all the play until your big guns came out. And shout out to them. There was a really nice goal from Junaid. So they were really connecting, and I think that's how they have to play throughout the entire game, throughout the entire season. Against every team, they have to kind of win by committee. And I've been saying this. They have a lot of decent players, and I think everyone just has to come in, three lines, step up, and win by committee. They have guys that can do tic-tac-toe plays like we saw Junaid and Zubairi do. So, just one man destroyed them, and his name is Abrar Desai. And that's all. I mean, you know what? The Jogiats, everyone, they're all good. But in this game, it was Abrar Desai, and he was the deciding factor. That's all.
All right. Well, second game of the night now we'll talk about is a 5-1 win for Ikhlas. Again, another dominant, lopsided game for Ikhlas over Sabr. Bucks, you were in this game, and so was I, but I'll let you
were in this game. You got shellacked just like I did. What happened? Hamdani happened. That's all. You can't stop this guy.
I don't know. He's not any of the 3 stars. What are you talking about?
Sorry?
He's not any of the 3 stars, so I don't know if he was necessarily the factor here, the X factor.
He was, though. He makes everyone around him better, and also he tracks a lot of attention. Basically,
he had 2 goals.
Sorry?
He had 2 goals.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, like I couldn't even get close to the guy in regards to just as soon as you he has acceleration I haven't seen before. He stands still, and then all of a sudden it's zoom. It's deceiving acceleration. You think he's slow, or you think he doesn't have it, and all of a sudden he just zooms by you. He made me. I was like, I'm not catching up to this guy, and then he made Kashev turn into a pretzel, and just sniped it over Ali. So, he's just in another league. But I'm glad he's in our league. I mean, that's all I can say. But
It's Osman Batar. Zoom made a good point. Osman Batar hasn't been here the last 2 weeks,
And they won.
and they still had two very good games. So that begs the question: is okay? Well, makes you start thinking if there is a weakness on this team, what did they do to address that? Right?
Are you saying it? Are you saying it's Usman Batar?
No, well, they can't do anything about him. He's a GM, so I mean, they're stuck with him, unfortunately. But what I am saying is, because they have that depth now, and they can, be perform really well offensively without him. If he's back in the lineup and they can still maintain that, then maybe another offensive piece can be traded in for something else, right? Maybe get a little bit more depth on the blue line.
And that's what the rumors are right now. That Ali Wadi or more like Abdullah Patel, they're looking around. They're testing. They're checking out some players, seeing what they can get in terms of some movement on the D line, just to get that transition out better. Abdullah, I see you talking about clips. You got to send us clips to be able to show them, right? So, but my esteemed colleague Umar is absolutely right. Like I saw, even though I came in half a period or 8 minutes into the first period, something like that, 8 minutes into the first period, you guys were already down 3-0, and all I saw was Hamdani dancing around like he's 17 again, just jumping around. So some guys got to go back to the basics and play the body.
So I'm gonna let you finish, but Saber had the biggest whooping of all time. No, I'm joking. Well, we had I can just say that obviously maybe like the first game, the score doesn't kind of indicate how the game was, but definitely, if you're down 3-0 and 3-1 like we were, it deflates the team and it hurts, and it's hard to come back from those type of things.
Definitely.
So it's just one of those things where I think in any league you can't be down 3-0 and expect to crawl back. It's really, really hard, and it's demoralizing for a team. There's no excuses on our end except that we came out flat, and we know we can't do that.
So an example of that, maybe we can just show this quick video here. Let me just try and get this.
There's a clip. Shut up.
Right setup here. Oh, there we go. Hopefully this works okay.
You see that clip?
That's on
beautiful back screen.
So sorry, it was a little bit from further away, but you know what? It's still a video clip, and thanks to the guys who sent that in. I guess it was Abdullah, but
unfortunately, it was a black screen or blank screen. It didn't come out well.
It was okay. We still saw how quickly he moves around people, right?
Abdullah, we'll throw it on the story, okay? I'll throw it on the IG story.
Yeah, there you go. Zoo will throw it on the story. All right, so game 3 of the night. Isan comes out with a 3-2 win over Haya, and Haya is a team that's struggling a little bit now, but maybe we can talk about that in the previews for next week. But right now, what did we see in this game?
We saw, I mean, realistically, we saw Isan keep up with Haya, and in the end, they potted a goal late, and it was a battle of, it was a very tight game. A lot tighter than maybe I thought it was going to be. And, Isan's defense is a lot better than maybe we give them credit for. And then guys like Daoud and Mohib, they find a way to score in the clutch right now. Mohib can score from anywhere. I'm not sure if the last goal was him or not, the game winning, but I'm pretty sure he was a part of it. Again, those are like those last minute or 2 minute kind of goals. They really they sting, especially because Haya was playing good the whole game, and Luke saying long season, but you know what, and this is what always happens. Everyone's great on paper, and everyone's saying it's going to come down to team chemistry, and we don't know what's going to happen. Honestly, anyone can win in this league at any given day, and Isan's rolling. I'm going to eat my words because I'm pretty sure Mr. Hamid Ibrahim Habibi, he didn't let me forget that I said Haya was going to win. And he sometimes, hey, I don't mind it. I'll call everyone out. Prove me wrong. Ali Wadi, he called me out after last week. He's like, you guys been talking a lot of smack about Ikas, and they shellacked us. So, I want you guys to do this. This is why I'm here. I want you to get mad. Do something.
He's here so that you can shellack him. Maju, Bucks talked about how Mohib just comes up clutch. He scored the game-winning goal with just under 5 minutes left in the game in a tie game. What is it like? He's had a little bit of a not as a torrid start to the season as he had last season, but he's still producing. What's your take on that?
Now, again, last season, not saying it's an anomaly, but he was being fed beautiful shots and movement was being taken away from his side, and he was left open quite often. So the pressure was a little bit off of him, considering he had a very well-rounded team around him. This season, the focus is on him as one of the GMs, right? And I think this season, the caliber of players is just overall stronger than last season. So Muhib can't jump around as he did last season. He's trying to find that space. He's making his own space this season as a lot more. And again, like what Omar said, he was able to find that shot and he was able to get that off, right? So you can only keep him off the scoreboard for so long. Ihsan is doing it as a team, right? Zaki Parak has shown up for the last couple of weeks. They're finding their rhythm, unlike the last game where Sabr, struggling because their GMs didn't show up so well, and now they're still trying to find the rhythm and trying to get it back. Ihsan is on a roll. They're hard to stop right now.
Give it up to their goalie. He's coming up clutch. Yusuf Kabur.
He is. He's been solid.
Sorry. Hold on. Ihsan's goalie is none other than Ali Khawaja, not Yusuf Kabur.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So yeah, what do you expect of Ali, man? He's going to come up big time, and he does. He just makes those wild saves. Nothing to take away from Khalid Mufti and Haya either, right? They fought back every single part of the game, but like you said, Baksh, it's hard to be in it when you're down early, and this is what it was, where Ihsan was able to get that first goal, and now you're always coming back. You're coming from behind. So when they're in that mentality.
Are we going to see this conglomerate fall? Like, what's going to happen here?
I don't think Haya makes trades, right? I know they had a pickup this week. Imad, are we going to speak about that later, or?
Yeah, actually, we can talk about it maybe after we just do this recap of the last game here.
Sure.
So good segue. A 3-3 tie between Taqwa and Rida.
Multani. God.
Multani was just. Oh man, he was just finding the back of the net. He was finding these little tap-ins, just in the right place. He's found his rhythm. I know, but he was part of the other goals as well. So the intangibles that were there, man.
Yeah, he's had a couple of good games together now. He's putting together a good stretch of hockey.
I talked to him after the game, and he said he's loving his line mates and the line that they've created there with Hamza Chaudhry and. I forgot what the other person is, but basically, like they, when you're playing with a lot of very, very smart hockey IQ guys that can get you in the right spots. So as long as you're in the right spots, Multani's a very smart player. He knows where to go and where to be. You don't have to run around. And this is what I keep trying to tell people. It's like there's one thing to be young and fast, or to be thin and fast, and us big guys, we have to use our brain a little more. Or us older guys have to use our brain a little more, and just positioning is more important, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I wonder if this game would have been any different if like half the Rida team wasn't coming from a wedding and being on full stomachs filled with butter chicken.
No excuses. Those proteins.
You saw the guys there. They obviously weren't playing like they were used to. Easily frustrated with their play. You could tell on the bench. Some of the guys that normally you joke around with, they're just not having any of it. So
this man,
don't
eat biryani before the game. I don't care where you are. Don't do it.
They might have figured that they should have just stayed at the wedding instead of leaving early to come play hockey. But at least it wasn't.
No, I think they're happy regardless. I don't think they regret that decision.
Well, it's funny that should be said, because Rida was actually up 3-1 at the end of the first. So good work by Taqwa to make a comeback on that.
Absolutely.
Sure. So we're going to switch gears here a little bit and just talk about a few players. We'll pick one player from each team, maybe a little bit of the guys you don't normally hear about as often, and we'll just talk a little bit about what they contribute and bring to their team. So up first is Zahid Panchpaya.
Zahid Panchpaya, and he's on Iman this season.
Go ahead, Maju.
he's always been that grinder player that's out there. And last week, or was it the week before, I saw a different level of him that I haven't seen before. And when a person loses the ball in the offensive zone, they're usually hanging their head and trying to jog back or something. Not Zahid. He just put his head down, turned around, running, beelining it right back. So that's one of those intangibles that a player that you don't see, he may not show up on the scoreboard often or make those big plays, but those are the intangibles that he doesn't give up on his team. He's hustling no matter where he's in the lineup and what he's doing. So, it's really good to give the shout out to these guys that are not routinely recognized, and Zahid is the epitome of that.
Yeah, and you're going to probably hear this for a lot of these guys here that we're going to talk about. And this is someone who probably, you see him in the red jersey here. He's a former Daoud draft pick, I think maybe 2 seasons in a row before this season. And, you wonder maybe Daoud was like, oh man, let this guy slip through the draft this time around. It would have been really nice to have him.
100% he's thinking that.
Sorry?
100% he's thinking that.
I believe he drafted him this season, but then...
that's right. Trade.
He did, trade.
Yeah, there was a trade. That's right. You're right. So that was part of the Zaidi trade.
Yeah,
the father-son TikTok.
Yeah, so
back to Isan with his dad. So
probably not. Yeah.
So there we go. Tried, tested, and true. Okay. Next up, we have Amr Hanif from Haya this season.
The vet, Amr Hanif. I call him Mr. Utility. He plays defense. He can play center. He does whatever is needed. Solid, reliable, very experienced, and doesn't get enough credit because he always gives you more value than where he's drafted usually. But one of the more dependable defensemen out there.
I would say Yunus Centerman. He, like you said, Buck. He's a man of all trades, jack of all trades. Very dependable. Maybe slowed down a little bit over the years, but he's still key to any team success. I think he can fill in on a second line, no problem. All right. Next up, we have Danish Khan, and he is on Isan this season. So he's another one of those Daoud favorites.
And there's a reason why he's a Daoud favorite. He's one of those players, again, he doesn't give up, right? Even though he may not have the best skill, best hands or whatnot, he doesn't stop doing what he needs to do, right? And I think he actually is pretty dang fast when it comes down to it, right? So if he can work on his hand-eye coordination or eye-hand, whatever the heck it's called, you forwards and D-men know all about that. I
probably have.
I might have it. I just can't say it. But if he can kind of work on that and kind of work on his stick work, he'll add an extra depth and a layer to his game that will make him, even more valuable. But again, he gets drafted by, Daoud on a regular, and there's a reason why you get drafted by Daoud on a regular. Same thing with when Haya drafts you.
There's Daoud chiming in, saying that Danish and Osama Roberts ride or dies, and there's no doubt about that. I think
I'm just saying one last thing
about team, like 4 seasons in a row, maybe, or something like that. It's ridiculous. And also Daoud, who bailed on the podcast tonight, saying he was too tired. Yet he's up here.
He doesn't have his headphones, and he doesn't want to get. He doesn't want to get shellacked by Nurhan.
All right. Next up, we have. There's a little bit of a lag here. Give me one sec.
Everyone from
Daniel from Ikhlas. Yeah, I know. You know what? These guys, they all have the orange jerseys or the red jerseys, and they're all former Daoud picks. I don't know if this is like a theme here or something, Maju, but this has just ended up how
Daoud picks them underdogs.
So yeah, Mudney, he has a great shot, and he plays D, and we also have Isawi here, mashallah, chiming in all the way from the Holy Land in Saudi Arabia. So nice to have international guests always. But what do you guys have to say about Mudney?
I mean, I've played with the brother. I played with him for many seasons, and he comes on. He's been playing Iceland for a while. He comes back and forth, but he actually has really good hockey IQ, and he has a really good shot. And he does produce if given the opportunities in the right position. I think obviously like a lot of people, conditioning is usually a factor in regards to that, and I think that's usually where people get stereotyped and get picked in the lower rounds. But uh, like use Imran Lakhanpal's example. Maybe not the fastest guy out there, but very smart and great shot and kind of knows where to be. Same thing with Mudney. He's a great teammate, great player, good guy to have around. And honestly, like on the third line, I think when I played with him, he scored a couple goals with us as a lineup, and he knows how to score, and he'll give you depth scoring.
And he's been called upon to play a lot of forward in recent seasons, and doesn't shy away from it. But you're right; it's hard to. And again, Mudney, I'm just going to say this, but it's hard for a person to stay in shape when he's driving across the country constantly. So but he still puts in a great effort every single week when he's able to show up and attend.
No, he's a great player, and you know what? Like, shout out to the GMs who get him because they get him at great value.
So another person in an orange jersey.
Back.
However, this season he's in a blue jersey from Rida, and probably the biggest smile in the league, I have to say.
Yes,
and
I
literally
have to agree.
always smiling. Mashallah, it's Tariq Baksh.
Derek Baksh.
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 And I asked him this too. Is it Baksh or Baksh? It's like
Baksh.
Baksh.
There's only one
Tariq
Baksh
Baksh.
around here, right? Let's get this clear right now.
So,
All right,
Mr.
what do you have to
Baksh,
say about
do you have any pointers or any insight on Mr. Baksh?
Besides him cramping on my name, he's a great teammate. He's a great teammate, great guy to be around. Obviously, small shows it all, but I'll say he's a very, very, very dependable person in regards to coming to the rink. Great teammate, and he has great foot speed, and usually he gets called on to play defense. A couple times we've had him play forward as well, but very versatile player, and again, very reliable, and actually has a pretty good shot. More of a wrist shot, but he definitely knows where to be and has great hockey IQ. Great teammate, and solid pickup. Whoever picks him, whoever gets him later rounds is usually, again, it's always great value.
He's always the first Bucks to go in the draft.
Sorry?
He's always the first Bucks to go in the draft.
Oh, screw you! Hell no.
and I feel like he's more of a defensive defenseman because you're saying he has a great shot, but I've never seen.
He's more of an offensive defenseman. Like with regards to, like, he moves around, like he likes to move with the ball. So again, he has that forward mentality a bit, but he's a defenseman. That gets right in the corners of everyone. So I would call him. If we're playing NHL 22, I'd call him a two-way defenseman.
Dude, what are you doing? Playing 22? It's 23 right now.
I don't know. I don't have the new game. Leave me alone.
Mans can't afford it, so it is what it is. The recession, man.
Can't find
supply chain. Supply chain issues.
The one and only Coach
Be
K,
quiet,
Kashif Takiuddin, from Suburb. So, since he's on your team, why don't you go first?
Coach K. I'm biased. Maju, please go ahead.
I am glad that you said his last name because I surely can't. But Taquitos?
Not butchering people's names.
But great player again. Like, unfortunately, I would say age has not been too kind on him in terms of injuries. But when he is healthy, he's able to run. he is able to run and keep up with players. They've a lot of times teams are throwing him up on forward, and it's a little surprise, but his experience and his tenacity comes through. I've seen this guy, no word of a lie, and he'll fake a shot on net, but he takes it, and it's a slap pass to beside the net, and he'll find the person that's wide open, and no goalie's making that save because you're playing that point shot. So it's those little plays he makes here and there, just amazing, change the face of the game, and really, really, enlighten you to what the different facets of the game that a veteran, a grizzled veteran, like my colleague Mr. Baksh will say, is the grizzled veteran brings to the team.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about him, right? I don't think anyone has anything negative to say about Coach K. He's a former OC member, has been with the league probably since the beginning. So great to have him always. All right. Next we have Hamza Wahid from Taqwa.
Hamza,
even before Islam, so he's I would call him the prototypical grinder. I think we even threw that in chat. He's very fast, and he's very tenacious, and he gets to the ball quickly. He back checks quite a bit, and he's just one of those guys that he's always going to be in your face. So he'll just run right back, and he's it's if he can put together more plays and works on his shot, he could be a very complete player.
Yeah, and he's always ready to play any position that you ask of him. So he can play defense, he can play forward, wing, and he's always open to feedback as well. So if you talk about something, a play that just happened, and maybe how you approach it next time, or maybe something else you do as an alternative, he's always very receptive to it, and he tries to implement that the next time he goes out there. So someone who's very coachable, he understands the game, and he's willing to get better at it. And just an overall great team player. All right. Next we have.
I love this guy. He's amazing.
So another good reason why you should get your picture taken. So we have Uwais Warachia. Sorry if that's the wrong pronunciation.
A heavy 10. It's a heavy 10.
No, you got it. It was Uwais Warachia. So the reason he's up here is, of course, if you're not, Zakaria Ali, EVP, or the GM trio or Asim, you're going to get lost on Yakin, right? And Uwais Warachia, being the D-man in front of me, he's just one of those unknown guys that got drafted, I think, in the middle rounds or so, but he really puts in the grinding minutes and the hard time. Unlike one of our other players, Mr. Kotwal, who loves to be in the penalty box for the game, guaranteed to have 4 minutes. Uwais, very disciplined, very physical too, big, strong guy, and just goes out there. Is he
one of the 6'4" boys that are out there?
The correct 6'4", not the fake news 6'4" Tagari.
No one is 6'4".
But he's definitely really humble too, right? So he doesn't come up there, make a lot of big splash, big noise. He just goes out, plays his game, and he's off the court and into the dressing room when the game's done. So he's just very humble, very quiet, and definitely deserves the shout out of the hard minutes he does play for the team.
All right. That takes us to the player of the week for week 4. We have Abrar.
Presented by Stone Valley Countertops.
2 goals, 3 assists. Brought to you by Stone Valley Countertops, as Buck said. If you're looking for any stoneworker countertops, then these are your guys to go to. So, what do we have to say about Abrar? We talked about him earlier in the, when we did the recap for Yakin. But he was in on every single goal for the team, showed up late because of the said traffic issues. To me, he just seems like this season, he's probably the most talented guy in the league.
He is the real deal, and obviously, he came highly. He didn't play the last time the Jogiats and whatnot were here, but his name was always floating around there, and obviously, people knew of his skill from other leagues he played in. But it's great to see. It's great to see this type of talent in the league, and obviously, him being young, and honestly, it's a treat to see these kind of guys play, and they make everyone else better around them. And obviously, you can tell by the score that he's a game changer. And as soon as he came on, and I saw as soon as he stepped on the court, that game tide changed and the play changed, and that's what great players do. They change the flow of the game as soon as they get on there. Maju can tell you that as well.
Definitely, you're absolutely right about Abrar. He just makes everything look so much easier. And just the chemistry he has with Hamza Jogiat and Gibby, it's just phenomenal. I think that chemistry is the biggest part of how and why things look so much easier when the team is out there. But you know what? It's just a testament of his hard work and his work ethic that he's always been willing to go out, take that next shift, and just continue to play really hard for the team. And really shows with that performance he's able to put out.
Definitely couldn't have said. I mean, agree with everything you guys have said. So once again, players that we brought to you by Stone Valley Countertops.
Stone Valley.
We'll let them know if they want a radio spot, Bucks, and they'll get you. So one of the final things we want to do tonight before signing off is just do a quick preview of the games coming up tomorrow night. So there are 4 games, as always. Starting at 8 o'clock, we have Iman and Ikhlas, then Yakin and Haya, Taqwa and Sabr, and then Rida and Isan. And maybe we could do a little bit of a breakdown of each game here quickly. So we see here Iman still winless. They're at the bottom of the standings right now, facing off against an Ikhlas team that came off a big win. High scoring versus a team that lets in a lot of goals. What are we going to see here?
Now, everyone's going to simply just say, oh, Ikhlas has got this and it's in the bag, right? But Iman was able to find a different layer of their game that it was not, well, I guess that they just weren't aware of over the last few weeks. Now, with also that they were able to pick up Asim Sheikh, and that, again, Iman, do you want to just speak about that quickly so that everyone's in the know?
Yeah, sure. So there was actually a waiver claim that came in before the deadline this week. So what ended up happening is Daoud Khan, unfortunately, was injured and he had to drop. And Daoud's on Haya. So we wish him all the very best. And inshallah, he'll recover soon and be back for the summer season, inshallah.
Inshallah.
So he dropped out and Haya brought in Asim Sheikh. So Asim Sheikh, you may remember, he played last season on Ikhlas, won a championship. Solid defenseman, basically all around, defensively minded, can carry the ball, create plays, everything. He was brought in by Haya as a replacement. And since Daoud was a 5th round pick, then anyone who claimed him would have to give up at least a 5th round pick or better to Haya. Iman, since they were in last place, they had first choice on the waiver claim, and I think they made a very good decision to take Asim Sheikh and bring him in. And as a result, they gave up Jawad Majid, another defenseman. So it was almost like a swap 1-for-1. And so Haya gets Jawad Majid, and then if Iman
Jawad Majid, oh no.
Yeah.
Yes,
so and now with that swap, so Iman has just simply gotten better. There's no doubt about it, right? Now we have Adam Ahmed, Huzaifa Mandra, and now we have Asim Sheikh on the back end, right? So now they've worked made a great turnaround and secured the back end.
You can get off your phone.
So they've really secured their back end. So now, if they get that confidence of, hey, we were able to run and keep up with the Thornkov guys, they definitely can keep up with Ikhlas, right? They do have younger, smaller players that can kind of get underneath some of the bigger guys that Ikhlas is running. So this is going to be definitely a good game to watch. It's just making sure that Iman doesn't fall behind, and Iman just needs to make sure that they really take it to them. But Ikhlas is Ikhlas. We know what they bring to the table, and they just have to continue to do exactly what they do to pull out a W. So definitely an exciting game to watch, but could be over quickly as well.
Is Ikhlas going to be Butter this week?
Is Butter in or is Butter out?
We'll see. I guess
he's supposed to be back.
Is he getting benched?
We'll see. Game 2 of the night, we have an undefeated and utterly dominant Yakin. They've only surrendered 5 goals this season, so Maju, that's it in no small part due to you as well. And then they're going up against the struggling Haya team, who I think they won their first game and they've been winless since, if I'm not mistaken. Scoring a fair number of goals, but also their defense hasn't been great either. What's the take on this game, guys?
I think, sorry, Maju, I'm just going to chime in real quick here. I think Haya is due for a breakout. I think their losses have been tight. The record isn't indicative of how that team plays and the skill level that's on that team. And I just think that hey, they could be the kryptonite to Yakin. They are a big body team. They are strong. They are fast. They are defensive, supposedly, as long as they don't give up those 15 goals against. But if the high hustle shows up, and Lukman's playing great this season too. So you know what? If they can shut down that top line, I think that's the key here. If shutting down the Ebrard size and Hamza Jogi, it's going to be really hard. But if anyone has the firepower and the defensive abilities, then let's say Haya. I want them to try. I want someone to slay the Yakin Dragon.
Maj, are you going to say anything about your own game?
Yeah, no, definitely. So I know for a fact Luke and Co are going to come out firing. They're going to look to try to get that first goal and keep up that pressure, right? We have Asif Bika on there, on Haya. We have all these guys, great shots from the point and beyond. They're going to try to capitalize on that and just start wiring it from anywhere and try to catch me and the team sleeping. So that's going to be their aim, their name of the game. But also, like you said, is use their physicality, their body, right? They definitely have the body over our team, and they're going to try to use that and will their way into the corners and in front of the net. It's just going to be the tenacity of Yakin that has to come through again, and the speed is what will continue to keep them victorious. So if they can pull out their tic-tac-toe plays, their movement, their give and goes, that's what's going to be the game changer. But Luke and company and Sadat on the back end are not going to make it easy. They're going to make sure that if Yakin wants into the zone, they're going to pay a price.
Luke saying he's just for 5 on you.
Okay. Hopefully Luke is okay too. He had a little fall last game, and he was okay, went back in the game and everything. But hopefully it's fully recovered and is able to be his usual self. Inshallah. He's really a force out there. Inshallah. Game 3, we have Taqwa versus Sabr. Both teams not necessarily going at all cylinders. At least Taqwa's a little bit better defensively. I don't know. Can't say the same about Sabr. But Buck, since we're both in this game, why don't we let Maju talk about it?
It's again this very very tight game, right? I think it's really going to come down to, can Sabr finally get their GMs and their players working together, right? You guys were able to get it in the second half of the last game, but that first half really got you behind the 8 ball, and you guys weren't able to fully recover. On the other side, Taqwa, their record again is not that indicative of the way they've played. Ups and downs here and there, but they are playing really well. If they can get MYC and everyone else, Hamza Chaudhry, all of their players to show up, every single player on every single line is deadly on that team. They're through and through. They're deadly, and it's going to be one of those games where if Sabr can outlast that pressure, get their guys in check, or just get all the communication going well, and find out what is missing. And maybe it was just the fact that Arif wasn't available last week. Maybe that was the missing piece, right? That veteran leadership, on the grizzled veteran again on the bench. If he shows up, maybe it's going to be a different game, just for that veteran leadership to calm the team down, because you guys were getting a little bit fiery here and there. But at the end, it did work to your advantage. So, and of course, who can forget Khalil Coker, who's always just guaranteed to score at least 1 goal. So, sorry, Riaz, but I don't think you're getting that the big goose egg.
Well, I just, to your point, I think it's just that we've had some key guys in and out each game so far this season, and it's just been a matter of adjusting to playing styles and not only how you work with your line mates, but then also how the transition works between defense and offense. And I think we kind of got a better sense of it as the game went on. So I'm hopeful that translates into, or continues on into, the game this week. But it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Now, I can attest that there's a rumor that Sabr might be having some sort of trades, or they might be looking at opportunities if they lose again. So there is that rumor that is flowing around. So we'll just have to see what
who's sending these rumors.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Maju's just writing these up before the podcast and then just sharing them, and he's starting these rumors. But what about the last game of the night here? We have Rida and Nissan. Both teams doing fairly well.
The Leafs versus the Oilers, you mean?
Yeah, the Leafs versus the Oilers. Always the Friday night special. What can we expect, you guys?
I think in this one here, it's gonna come down to which goalie cracks, because I think both goalies are gonna come out well, and it will just be can they get something through Ali Khwaja? If you get a couple goals past him, you can dent his armor. So I think the biggest thing is who's going to support their goalie. There's firepower on both sides here. There's people who can score on both sides here. There's snipers on both ends. It's going to come down to, I think, who's ready to play defense, who's ready to lock down, and which goalie is going to come up and stand on his head.
And multiple people have already said it in the chat, and I couldn't get to it quick enough, but Asawi is missing. So Rida is missing their first round pick. Unless he can fly over from Saudi Arabia, but so they're missing their first round pick. Now it's how can they adapt from it? And I agree, Omar. You have Ali Khwaja on one end, you have Yusuf Kapoor on the other end. Hopefully Yusuf comes and they don't have Mohamed Mughal again. But again, Mohamed Mughal is still a great player.
What's wrong with Mohamed Mughal?
No, I just said he's still a great player.
Like, hopefully we don't have him. What is up
hopefully we don't have that guy. Thank you for coming.
You want to have your own regular goalie. Your team is accustomed to a certain player in net, so that makes a difference on confidence as well. But it's really going to be a nice grind out game. So I think Luke said it best. I believe it was Luke earlier on in the podcast. It was Luke. Big games this week. So every single game this week is touted to be a big game. It's going to be a lot of excitement, firepower, and happenings.
Yeah, for sure. We're getting to close to the halfway point of the season. Believe it or not, already it's a 12-game season. This is week 5. And it's getting to the point where some teams that are struggling are going to have to start making decisions soon, because you're going to want to try and, at least my personal opinion is, you're going to try and want to rack up as many points as possible before Ramadan, because after Ramadan you have 2 games left, I believe, 2 regular season games, and you go straight into the playoffs. So that's a lot of guys are going to be a little bit out of shape, need to warm up and get back to their cardio back after Eid. So those are going to be like little tune-ups. It's after the trade deadline already. I think that the time to make moves is in the next couple of weeks, or potentially already saying goodbye to the season.
Do we know exactly when the trade deadline is?
I would have to get it to you. I don't know off the top of my head. Usually it's after week 7 is the trade deadline, between week 7 and 8. But since it's a 12-game season, I think it might be after week 9, between week 9 and 10. So right before Ramadan, before the final game before Ramadan, I think is trade deadline. But don't quote me on that. GMs, that was communicated to you during the draft. You have the deck, so just if any questions, just ask in the GM chat.
Inshallah, we'll look to confirm that. But it still means that there's a couple of weeks to go before a trade deadline. So simple as that. Like, teams do need to make some moves and assure themselves of a playoff spot, but B, run to the championship.
Yeah, for sure. Well, gentlemen, thank you. It's been swell. Again, apologies to everyone for the delayed start today. We had some unforeseen circumstances come up, but inshallah, we'll see you all tomorrow night, and wishing everyone all the best, successful and fun games.
Inshallah. Take care, everyone.
Inshallah. Take care, everyone.
Later, guys.